In its first year, the GCB was embroiled in a major playoff controversy, where the Moon Dynasty, then named Master Shifu Wu, made the playoffs over the Green Machine, then named the Steam Trollers, on a controversial tiebreaker system. What ensued in the hours following the decision was a war of words still remembered to this day. Let's set the stage. The 2014 season ended and 4 teams tied for 3rd place. With only 2 playoff spots available to them, the decision went to tiebreakers. One team was in no matter what, and another team was out no matter what. However, between Master Shifu Wu and the Steam Trollers, things got very interesting. The Trollers had more points for than Shifu Wu, which would have qualified them in today's league, but in the inception of the league, it was head-to-head that decided who moves on. Since it was a 4-way tie, the head-to-head record was that of every opponent that was in the tie together. Despite the Steam Trollers beating Master Shifu Wu in their only matchup of the year, Master Shifu Wu came out with a combined 3-2 record versus the tied teams, while the Steam Trollers only had a 2-2 record.
All I want to say is the system decided that, right? There were no stipulations going into it. There were no rules considering if you had the most points for or not. The NFL website, the whole system, was created by a group of professionals, and when we sign up for NFL fantasy football, having our whole league on that site to run our games and everything, to record all the points and the tallies of the schedules and all that, we pretty much signed up for whatever power they chose by default if we did not choose it at the end. So the fact that there was such a big controversy in the first place shouldn't have happened. We should have just trusted the fantasy football website.
Yeah, so my whole thing is, as a commissioner, I'm not going to get involved in drama, and I'm not going to make little petty rule changes just because some member of the league wants me to change a rule, to get them into the playoffs. So I stand by what the rulebook says. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that's true. I have integrity as a commissioner, and yeah, I'm not going to just make a rule change at random. So I completely stand by everything. I've never made a bad decision in my history as commish, and that's why I'm still here.
In that situation, I believe he saw both sides. Of course, he picked the right decision, which is my side, because I did nothing wrong. Let's make that very clear. I did nothing wrong. That has to be clear, right? All I did was follow the rules of NFL.com. And the commissioner as well only followed the rules of NFL.com. I thought the commissioner did a wonderful job.
It was just like a weird split between like a 4-way tie, and I think there was just like, they looked at like the head-to-head games, and shouldn't have just had to edge me out on some of the games, even though, I had more points than like the other two. And I'm glad that I at least had to kind of take that bullet, and, we developed and had a rule change after it. So, sometimes you have to be on the wrong end of the stick to kind of make things change for the better, I guess. I do think I would have won one game in the playoffs, but it's water under the bridge, I guess.
When I wrote what I did, and I don't remember if it was on a forum or an email, but the whole deal was 3-way tie for teams to make the playoffs. The head-to-head wasn't going to work. Like I said, I've played a lot of fantasy football, and the common sense thing was to just go with points scored, because that's what fantasy football is all about. In other leagues, we don't even use head-to-head, which we don't anymore anyways. It's just common sense. Just go points scored. So that's what I thought was going to happen. But then it was a team that Alex had beaten once and had more points than in the season, made the playoffs over him, and I just thought it was ridiculous.
Look, I agree with all the arguments that the Boydocks made. I do think that we've corrected things now. Points for is the better tiebreaker. Head-to-head, especially when there's not even matchups, doesn't make a lot of sense. But, come on. The rules were plain as day. They're right there. They're advocating to change the rules at the 11th hour. So I just think, you can't just change the rules on the fly. Doesn't matter if you think they're dumb. Those are the rules. Bring them up next year, change them there. I know we did, but I'm complaining about the rules that right when it affects you. It's just silly. But if I had to pick a side, I think I gotta go with AB here. Although, I don't think he needs his dad fighting his battles for him in the forum. So, that makes me have a little bit of sympathy for Shinwoo here. AB, why don't you fight your own battles next time, huh?
Who would you side with?
The Boy Docs, always the Boy Docs. The NFL.com league forums got very heated, and some bystanders got dragged into the crossfire.
They tried to take it out on me when it wasn't my decision. It's not my fault if people don't look into the rules of whatever happens if there's a tiebreaker, whatever happens if, X factor means Y. Who knows, right? It's not my fault they didn't read the finer print. Mr. Beast, an ally, I thought, a friend. But in that moment, he was no friend.
So you were pretty upset when you let the league know on the forums. Do you regret any of the stuff you said?
No, I don't. I shared my opinion and also recall sharing that I think Darren McFadden was $2 or whatever. But so I've had my chats on the forum, and that's a place to voice my opinion. And the Mafia backed me up as well. So it was good times on the NFL forums.
I think what comes to mind, Austin, is we need to get the message boards back. I think we could be active in Discord at times, but I think this upcoming season and in future seasons, I might try to bring back the message board spamming and trash talking on NFL.com itself. I think what's better than opening up the app or logging onto your computer and just seeing a nice message from the Dynasty champions, just saying how bad your team is, and just how bad your players are, and Dynasty champions are coming for you. So I don't know. I'm all for it, and I think the message boards there's room for growth there. Got to bring it back.
Alex had trouble with the league in the past via a suspension from forum spamming. Did this possibly play into the ruling?
Let's talk about Alex's spamming the league message board real quick. Here's why I had to come in and swoop in and stop that shit early. Is this, Austin? If I as commissioner didn't come in and stop that spamming, where would we be right now? What would he be doing in Discord? Probably as we speak, he'd be spamming nonstop. We wouldn't be able to stop it. It's like when your kid throws a tantrum in the store when they're like 5, and you give them candy or something. You're just reinforcing the behavior. So did I give Alex candy? No, I didn't give him candy. I punished him, and I suspended him. So of course I stand by it.
You were suspended from posting for spamming before. Do you think the commissioner took that into account when he was ruling on the tiebreaker?
I would hope not. I think the commissioner should review each scenario, independently, and I do enough for the league that he should be able to let me slide on a one-time spamming thing. That the stupid computer at the Fort Zumwalt South Library, that was the issue. But, technical difficulties basically where it didn't refresh. So, for me to get punished on the chat boards for that it was a quiet week for me. But I'm a quiet guy normally, so.
Some people believe that the Mr. Beast support stems from their family ties with the Green Machine organization, going so far as to say that this was the start of the Boy Doc Mafia.
It was really interesting because that whole thing, that's kind of the genesis of Boy Doc Mafia.
Sounded like that was kind of the origins of the Boy Doc Mafia, so.
I think so. I think this is probably this planted the seed, as they say. I don't blame Mr. Beast. That's your blood. That's the heir to the Boy Doc name. So you're going to stand up and defend your son. So fair enough. The Boy Doc Mafia got started.
Mr. B should just stay where he belongs. Don't fight his son's battles. Okay, if his son's crying and Big Pop has to come in and protect his little cub, I fight my own battles. I don't have anyone fight them for me.
I'm sure if Alex would have made the playoffs off of them, they would have kept pretty quiet about changing those rules. And I think maybe it shows the true character of the Boy Doc Mafia there.
There's a very likely possibility the Boy Doc Mafia, has always existed. It just hasn't come into light until Chris came in. Because now that a third member was involved, they couldn't cover their stuff in the shadows no more.
The impression was, because our league likes drama, was that I hate Shinwoo and I'm going to defend Alex. When the reality was I hate stupidity and incompetence, and I was defending common sense. And I would like to think that if teams were reversed, that I would have stood up for Shinwoo or stood up for Patrick or any of the teams that was in that situation. And that's really what my intent was. But our league likes drama, so it became a Mr. Beast hates Shinwoo, and the Boydok Mafia I'm going to defend to the end. That's my story.
But one question still remains. After 10 years, is there still ill will between the two GMs?
Is there still any ill will towards Shinwoo from this?
I wouldn't say so. After 10 years, I hope things have kind of died down. I know it still gets brought up, as it should.
Since this controversy, you've made 3 trades with Alex. Has there been any tension in any of those negotiations?
No, not at all. I haven't seen any more shade or hostility from them ever since the first year. No bad blood. No bad blood. Yeah, I would say that.